What is up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crawdad Lake. Today I wanted to discuss the stupidity that is school learning acronyms, things such as race, cubes, and especially Q-tips. These have no point in being taught, and I wanted to yell into the mic for a bit so the stars align. Before I begin my rant, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I don't like saying it makes me sound desperate, but it is proven by data of mine and other YouTubers that when you annoyingly pester the audience about it, you get better results. Hit the bell while you're at it. I would like to start this off by saying that these are only opinions, which means that I am not trying to present them as facts, although I have yet to meet a single person who disagrees with me on this strange system. Whether you agree or not, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to start with the race format, as it is the most common one. For those who don't know, RACE stands for restate, answer, cite, and evidence. This is a tool that is used in the classroom to properly word constructive response questions, or, in a more simpler terms, give it a more full answer. For example, in my sophomore English class, we read A Raisin in the Sun. The race question we got was, after Willie ran off with the money, Walter's solution to the problem was to accept the money Ligner offered. Explain why he did not accept Ligner's money after all, using specific details from the play. In which I responded with, Walter did not accept Ligner's money because he wanted to show pride and respect his deceased father. For instance, Walter explains that the house they got was earned with their father's money. The text states, "And we have decided to move into our house because my father earned it for us, brick by brick." This shows that Walter kept the house because he knew that his father, even if it was indirectly, bought it for them, and that it was rightfully theirs and nothing would change that. See, this is such a waste of time. In real life, if someone asks you what the second stage of the water cycle is, they won't ask you to tell you twice, cite where you found the information, and tell you to explain. Just say the answer once, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, thanks." This is the most common thing that we do in school. We have been doing this since 3rd grade, and in almost every class in middle school and high school. With all of this, I can't even think of a single time in my real life that I'll need to use it. We've spent more hours on race than addictive players do on Animal Crossing. Unlike Animal Crossing, it isn't fun and cute. Next, I want to bring up cubes. This is a method that I learned in Algebra 1, but we never used again. It stands for circle, underline, box, evaluate, and solution. Basically, you were given a problem. You need to circle the numbers, underline the important things, box the other important things, explain in a paragraph what to do, and then solve the problem. I feel like this is completely stupid when you could just simply solve the problem. I remember in Algebra 1, my teacher grinded us to the ground with this, just for my Algebra 2 teacher to say the very next year, "We came up with a new, better method," making all the time we spent on it pointless. Speaking of the better method, the last one I'd like to talk about is the worst one of all, Q-tips. That stands for question, think, information, plan, and solve. I will go through and explain why each one of these steps is stupid. For the sake of this episode, I'll use this example. Solve the following system of equations. X minus y plus z equals -1, x plus y plus 3z equals -3, and 2x minus y plus 2z equals 0. This seems pretty easy, right? Well, not if you're using Q-tips. To be fair, it's not even that hard. It is just way too much work for such a simple problem. First, we must figure out the question. This is basically identifying what the problem wants us to do and in what units. You would think, "Oh, that's simple. It's asking us to solve the problem." Well, no. You have to answer it like this. The question is asking me to use the information to calculate a solution for what the variables represent. Because we are encouraged to be unnecessary. Next, we must think. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't you thinking through this whole problem, not just this one section? And yes, it is specifically asking us to think about the strategies and operations needed to solve the problem. which is basically a fancy way of asking you to name off a way to do math. The answer for this problem is add, subtract, multiply, divide, and reduce, which isn't reducing, just dividing. I don't know. If we are doing this process in order, then we wouldn't even know what we need to do yet, so this step is extremely stupid. Now we must figure out the information. It's basically asking to identify all the information in the problem. All the information in the problem is just the problem itself in this case, the equations. I don't know why we need to identify the information when the information is just the whole entire thing. The next step is a plan. This is where you explain what you are doing like you're explaining it to someone who has never done this type of problem before, which I don't see the point in this step at all. You're not explaining it to yourself because you already know how to do it. You're not explaining it to the one reading the paper because that is your teacher and they already know how to do it because they're the one that taught you how to do it. So, I don't know who this step is for. Just to show you how ridiculous this is, I will painstakingly read out how to answer this part of the question. First, you would like to take the original equation and move all the terms that have x in it to the right side of the equation. You add y to and subtract z from both sides of the equation. You must then replace all x's with -1 plus y minus z in each of the equations. Replace each x in x plus y plus 3z equals -3 with -1 plus y minus z by putting it in parentheses. Then simplify by adding the y's, and then adding -z to 3z. You then must replace all x's in 2x minus y plus 2z equals 0 with -1 plus y minus z, which will get you to parenthesis -1 plus y minus z parenthesis -y plus 2z. Then you bring in the distributive property, making it 2x minus 1 plus 2y plus 2 parenthesis z negative parenthesis -y plus 2z equals 0. Then you multiply 2 by -1 and -1 by 2 to get -2 plus 2y minus 2z minus y plus 2z equals 0. You then simplify by adding -2z and 2z to get -2 plus 2y minus y plus 0 equals 0. Then add -2 plus 2y minus y and get 0 to get -2 plus 2y minus y equals 0. Subtract y from 2y and add it to both sides to get y equals 2. You could then replace all y's with 2 in each equation. Simplify -1 plus 2 parenthesis 2 parenthesis equals 2z by multiplying 2 by 2 and adding -1 to 4 to get 3 plus 2z equals -3. Replace all y's with 2 to get x equals -1 plus 2 minus z. You can then simplify it by removing the parentheses and adding -1 to 2 for the answer of x equals 1 minus z. Move all the z's to the right side of the equation, followed by dividing each term by 2 and simplifying to get 2z over 2 equals -6 over 2, which after canceling out the 2 and dividing -6 by 2 is z equals -3. Lastly, replace the -z in the final equation with -3 to get x equals 1 plus 3, giving us x as 4, which gives us our final answer of x equals 4, y equals 2, and z equals -3. Did you get tired listening to that? Did you skip forward or even exit out of the video while listening to that? Yeah, we have to do this once a week, and it is incredibly stupid. If we already know how to solve the problem, why would we need to explain it? I'm just saying, overall, this is way too stupid. I swear to God, just someone give me an aspirin. You see how ridiculous it is, right? Like, I need like a couple aspirins, and by a couple aspirins, I mean like a couple bottles for me to chug down. Thank you. Lastly is to solve, which is where you basically show step by step how you solve the problem, basically showing your work. Showing your work is stupid and all, but this is the only thing in the process that I can consider even slightly not pointless, unlike the other steps. Next time you want to complain to your teacher about having to show your work, think of the ridiculousness of the plan step in Q-Tip's problems. So, yeah, just all in all, school acronyms are the stupidest thing to ever exist, right next to the Hawaii chair and flat earthers. Those are my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. Put them in the comments below and start some chatter. Speaking of which, if you go into the description of this video, you'll find the links to my social media accounts. Things such as my Instagram, Twitter, Wattpad, Tumblr, Reddit, TikTok, and a link to my channel's Discord. There's also a link to my second channel where I go live, and a link to a Google form to recommend fanfics for my Wattpad Read Aloud series. I encourage you to stay tuned for Wednesday's Wattpad Read Aloud, and please stay tuned for next Saturday's video. You can get notified when they are uploaded if you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. Sorry I'm pushing it, but like I said, seeming desperate apparently gets subscribers. Whoopsie doodles. Stay hydrated, take care of yourselves, very important. Just overall, thank you for watching, and do your best. Hey guys, it's Editor VP, and I'm here just to fill in the runtime we have left real quick that PowerDirector's not letting me cut out, to say that you guys are really awesome, and you guys are amazing, and I love you, and just thank you for existing and supporting me. Yeah.